Hi stars, this is Luminousz Star. Welcome to the channel. Today's vlog. Wherever there's a narcissist, look for the contrast. That's what we're going to be talking about today in the vlog. Please like and or share today's vlog video. Please look for the description box below for more details to today's vlog. If this is your first time visiting, welcome to Luminousz Star. And also my current subscribers, you already know how special you are to me. Mwah! Thank you guys and gals so much for your subscription, and thank you for keeping me passionate about keeping Luminousz Star channel active. Our star family is growing and this is very exciting, so kudos and bravo to my current subscribers who are making this happen. Okay, so today's vlog, wherever there's a narcissist, look for the contrast. Okay, so the contrast is like opposites of each other, like night and day. There's your contrast, right? Sometimes some of us have narcissists in our personal life, and we also have it in our professional life. We work with some of them, okay? Sometimes we go to school with them. Sometimes we find out that some of them are not really our friends. We thought they were our friends, but they're not. Some of them are in our families. So this is where we go into the personal side. Families, spouses, even children, you know, who are cluster B personality or who have a narcissistic personality. So where's the contrast? Well, that's it. Sometimes there's a lack of the contrast. The contrast means that you have balance and harmony. Without the contrast, there's no balance and there's not any harmony. So whenever you find that a narcissist and a cluster B personality is in your professional life, first of all, I want you to understand that this is your outer world, okay? This is not your inner world, whereas there's your personal life. The professional life is the outer world. Sometimes we interact with cluster B personalities and narcissists and may not know them. Like when you go to the grocery store, you may briefly interact or encounter a narcissist or a cluster B personality. That might be that rude person that's working behind the counter. That narcissist and cluster B personality may be that nasty customer. Okay, you may be the one working at the grocery store and then a customer comes up and they're very nasty. That might be the narcissist and the cluster B personality. But anyway, that is the outer world, right? This is not your inner world. So when you're dealing with the cluster B personality and the narcissist in your outer world, when you're dealing with the cluster B personality and the narcissist in the outer world, right? Look for the contrast. The contrast ought to be in your personal life. So when you find the contrast, you ought to be able to find some balance and harmony between your outer world and your inner world. This is how you're going to reduce your stress, okay? Especially emotional stress. All right, we'll get to that in a minute. When you talk about that outer world, when you're out and about, you know, doing your thing, this is your outer world, right? You may have to go to work. You may have to go to the office. You may have to go to that company. You may have an appointment. You may have to go to the doctor. You may have to go to the grocery store. Whatever. This is your outer world. This is where you might encounter a narcissist or a cluster B personality. Okay? You can't help that. You really can't control that. So when you encounter them, look for the contrast. This is where you're going to look into your personal life. Are there cluster B personalities there? Are there narcissists in your personal life? Okay, so if you've answered yes, then that means there's a lack of contrast. There's a lack of contrast because there's a lack of balance in your life. There's a lack of harmony in your life. This is why you're stressed. This might be why you're stressed. This might also be why you have periods of feeling anger or very frustrated and it doesn't seem to have an origin. Okay, you don't really know where it's coming from, but you all of a sudden you feel angry and you just, you know, you're on edge. Well, this is where it's coming from. This might be where it's coming from. Again, where there's a lack of a contrast, there's usually a lack of harmony and a lack of balance. This does not mean you're a bad person. It just means that when you have narcissists and cluster B personalities in your outer world that you deal with, okay, you can't really control that. But when you also have them in your inner world, see, that you can control. You have some choice in that. So if you're giving space to narcissists and cluster B personalities in your inner world, then you're probably going to notice them more often in your outer world. Okay, I hope that makes sense because this is an epiphany that I had a while ago. This was maybe about 5 years ago. I was like, you know what? It just seemed like I have narcissists and cluster B personalities in my life, And also, you know, when I go to work, when I go to school, and this is what I used to notice. I was like, wait a minute, I have narcissists coming at me on each side. I have supposed to be personalities coming at me on each side. Yikes, right? So anyway, some of you have been reaching out to me and letting me know, and I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate you reaching out to me. This is something though that is very common. That is a person who has a background with dealing with cluster B personalities and narcissists in their childhood. Usually when they grow up to be adults, they're going to notice this particular type of people more often, where they work at. And also they may be married to a narcissist or cluster B personality. So they're going to see this type of personality in their inner world and their outer world. This is very common. So stars, I really hope, those of you who reached out to me, I really hope this gives you some comfort. Where there's a lack of contrast, there's going to be a lack of balance. Where there's a lack of balance, there's going to be lack of harmony. Okay, so whenever you encounter in your outer world that narcissist and cluster B personality, look to your inner world for the contrast. Usually there's going to be a lack of contrast, especially if you have a childhood whereas you've been dealing with cluster B personality types and narcissistic personality. Okay, this is very common. We usually stick to what we're familiar with. Okay, we tend to gravitate towards what we are familiar with. And this is where the subconscious mind comes in. If you have a parent or you have grandparents who are cluster B personality or narcissists, they had something to do with the programming that was downloaded in your subconscious mind. Okay, so we tend to stick to what is familiar, even if it's toxic. Okay, so if you're working with narcissists, if you encounter them at the grocery store or at a park, you know, it may be a brief encounter. If you're noticing that there's a lot of cluster B personalities that you work with or go to school with, or maybe people that you call your friends, and even the narcissistic personalities, right? Start looking for the contrast by looking in your inner world. Now, this is where the friends may come in, but friends come and go. You want to start looking at your family members. You want to start looking at spouses, lovers, you know, people who are closer to you, who are the people that you're giving space to in your life. You want to start looking for that, because if there's a match, if you have cluster B personalities over here and cluster B personalities over there, if you have cluster B personalities in your inner world and you have cluster B personalities in your outer world, there's going to be a lack of contrast, meaning they're going to be the same. Where something is the same, they tend to repel sometimes. This is where the lack of harmony and balance comes in. This is what I used to do, and I noticed that this was a game changer for me. When I started seeing cluster B personalities and narcissists in my outer world, I looked to my inner world and I started asking myself some critical question. Critical question number one: why am I giving space to cluster B personalities and narcissists in my personal life? In other words, what's the purpose of the relationship with a narcissist and cluster B personality? That's the first. So where there's a lack of contrast, there's a lack of balance, there's a lack of harmony, this is where your health may take a hit. Okay, not only your confidence and your self-esteem, but your health, your overall health is being compromised, because you have the outer world and the inner world, they're the same. There's no contrast. So you need the contrast in order to have the balance and the harmony. So this is how you can help reduce stress. You can help yourself a lot by looking at your inner world and making some changes if necessary. Doing inventory on your relationships or relationship inventory. Okay, start journaling more often. Start asking yourself some more critical questions, such as, what is the purpose of the relationship with a narcissist and cluster B personality? Because what's going on in the outer world, we can't really control too much. You're going to run into the cluster B personality types and those who have a narcissist every now and then. Like I said, they may be at the grocery store. They may be at that club that you go to. They may be at the park. They may be at work, right? Or at school. You really can't control that. But your inner world, yeah, you have some say about that. Okay? So there's your contrast. Okay, so tool number one, I'll give you the first tool like I gave you the first critical question. Tool number one, start to reduce the cluster B personalities and the narcissistic types in your inner world. This way you can have more harmony and balance, because now you're creating a contrast. Look for the contrast. Create the contrast. So look for it and create it. If you don't find it, create it. How do you do this? You start doing inventory in your personal life. You start doing relationship inventory. Okay, and I already shared the first critical question with you. What is the purpose of the relationship with a narcissist and or cluster B personality? So the way you create contrast, right, is to start reducing the number of people that you give space to in your personal life who have either a cluster B personality or a narcissistic personality. So this is how I started to create more contrast in my life. Contrast equals out to balance. Balance equals out to the game changer is the stress levels going down, the emotional stress levels going down. More than likely, you'll start to feel better. You'll start to have a better outlook on your life, and your overall health and well-being will start to improve. Okay, so those things are the game changer. So you want to start to create the contrast. You cannot help that you may encounter narcissists and cluster B personalities in your outer world, but your inner world, yeah, you have some say on that. I want to remind everyone that this book here, Terrifying Transferences, is a great book. Now, I'm still reading it, as you can see. I'm about halfway through it, but yes, this is a great book. It talks about childhood trauma, and also it talks about when you go to the therapist and the counselor. A lot of detail about some of the things that are very common that people who have childhood trauma, they go through, especially when they go to counselors and when they go to therapists. Okay, so having said all that, I certainly hope everyone has enjoyed this video, and wherever you may be right now, I certainly hope you're taking care of yourself, creating that contrast, right? I hope you have enjoyed this vlog, and wherever you are right now, of course, I wish you the very best. And also, don't forget, create that contrast. Where there's contrast, there's harmony. Where there's harmony, there's balance. And this means your overall well-being, as well as your overall health, will start to improve. Okay? Of course, leave comments. And let me know how you deal with the contrast, or if there's a lack of contrast in your life. In other words, are there a lot of narcissists in your personal life, as well as your professional life? Okay, so we already know this means there's going to be a lack of balance, a lack of harmony, and also your health probably is going to take a hit. So leave in the comment section, how do you deal with creating contrast? Stay tuned for the next vlog. Stay tuned for the next video. Mwah.